Good morning. We're back at the Gibraltar Range National Park in northern New South Wales. Going for a walk today. I'm off for a walk to the Needles, some spectacular granite outcrops. Then we'll do a link back to the fern tree walk and then back to the car. So it should be all up about 12 kilometres and I don't know, 4 or 5 hours, see how long it takes me, see how many times I stop, but there should be some really good things to see. So we're going to see some wonderful nature, we're going to see some history today, we're going to show you a couple of things as we go, and whatever else we find. So let's go. So it's currently 12 degrees. We're meant to get a top of, I don't know, around 16, 17, something like that today. Should be pretty comfortable walking weather. And I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a bit of uphill work today, up and down. Not sure how many metres of elevation. It'll be enough to make an overweight fella work pretty hard, I think. It doesn't matter. We'll get there. So right now we're here at Mulligan's and we're going to walk up here to the Needles. Then after the Needles we're going to come back, we're going to do this fern tree loop and then back to where we are. Now this is Mulligan's hut. I know I showed it to you another day. The other day that I showed it to you was pretty rough, so I'm going to refilm it and we'll do a better job this time. So this building was originally actually the stables. Mulligan built a hut up here, but it's a replica of the type of huts that people would live in. You can have a look down here, there's a fireplace and people do use this. I'm sure the folks who camp here might come down here and have a bit of a picnic in here. We've got the old wooden shutters on the windows, open them up and let a bit of light in, a bit of air, build a pole frame, some more substantial poles on the bottom, little poles along the top to take a bit of the weight. And then each of these is just a timber slab that's been cut out of the side of a tree. So essentially you've got a tree, you know what a tree looks like. You cut the tree down and then from what's left over you just rip it down. Now these would probably all cut mechanically at a sawmill or using that type of equipment. Back in the old days, they were commonly cut using saw pits. You would have one person down in a hole under the ground. You'd have another person standing up on top of the log and a saw going up and down between them, and then they could saw planks off that way. The other way that they could do it was to split them. If it was a really nice straight grain tree, they could drive wedges into them and actually split planks off them. Now in Mulligan's day, there was still mining going on in this area, and so one of the things about mining is you either need to cart your stuff somewhere to process it, or if you can process it on site and cart away the processed material, you can make more money. And so to be able to process it, you need things like power. And one of the ways you can get power is with steam, but then you've got to bring coal in or other things to drive your steam engines. It could be awkward. And another way you can generate the power to run your plant is through hydroelectric. And that was Mulligan's idea, because there's water here. I'm going to show you some very soon, and you can use that water to generate your hydroelectric. Now he was so convinced of the workability of his scheme that he actually built 2 weirs on the site. So if you capture this water with a weir, you can then release it as you want it and use that to drive the hydroelectric. Now this wasn't going to be some massive scheme like the Snowy Mountains, but just a small local unit that would generate some power for local industry and also be able to provide potentially some power for other local landholders or graziers and so on. And just remember, this is back before we had a national grid, there weren't power lines running all over the country back then. And if a town was to have electricity back in those days, it would actually have its own power plant. And some of the earliest towns around in regional areas to get electricity included towns like Tamworth. And there's an excellent museum in Tamworth to showcase some of that early electrical gear. That's Little Dandara Creek. I love walking after some rain. You get all these different mushrooms popping up. Just beautiful little mushrooms. Been noticing mushrooms all the way along. A few different ones. Not too many bracket mushrooms. They're mainly all the little stemmed and cupped ones. But hey, good stuff. Autumn is a great time for mushrooms. We're towards the end of autumn now. Nearly winter. Now winter's good because it's nice and cool. And you can get some longer walks in. Particularly when you carry a bit of extra weight. Winter's a great time to be walking. Have a look at this tree. A little hollow. Some more fungus growing down inside there. If ever there was an entrance to a little goblin's cave or a pixie's house, this is what it looks like. Beautiful, beautiful. There's always something to see, eh? What I love about this park is that you just dive in and out. Rainforest, the drier gum forests, and then the stringy bark and blackbark forests on the western side of the mountains. These little gullies, beautiful mosses, water. What a beautiful spot. But we'll walk a few hundred metres, and before you know it, we're back in the dry forest again, watching gum trees and kangaroos, lizards. Oh, have a look at this. Gorgeous. And up this end, we can see the same mushrooms at an advanced age, and over here even more advanced. And it's just fascinating to come to these places and watch this stuff happen. Have a look at this. Oh, this walk's going to take me all day. Just look at those bracket funguses growing off there. Tiny little ones. They're growing. And up here you can see the bigger ones, the older ones that have died off. They go right up the tree. This is dead. But the bit you can't see, it's over here too. That's the part you can't see, which is the mycelium, which is where all these mushrooms are growing off. I keep stopping to look at things. I can't help it. And then I want to show you, because I think it's fascinating. What do you think is fascinating? What do you look for when you come into the bush? You leave me a comment and let me know. We'll have a nice chat about it in the comments. walk so far has been pretty good. Just the last probably 100 metres, we're starting to get a little bit of some awkward granite scrambles here and there. Most of it's not too bad, but there's a few spots where you've got to take a few big steps. Most of the track is pretty good, a little bit muddy today, but otherwise quite navigable for most people. The country has changed, as you can see. We're in the drier forest, the gum forest, and it's interesting just watching the change of the scenery. You know, we still got a lot of the epiphytic plants from the rainforest. I've just stopped to take some photos of these, I'll show you. But we've still got some staghorns, and we've got crow's nests and little orchids and things like that growing on the rocks right here on the edge of the rainforest. Then if I show you out here, you've also got grass trees, and there are plenty of the drier forest gums around here, more of the stringy barks and the black butts and those type of trees, plus mountain gums and so on. So we made it. That's the view out across the valley. Those are the granites. And there's a beautiful little waterfall just down there. I haven't seen anyone else on this walk today. There's heaps of these little blue flowers all along the way. This plant looks a bit like and smells a bit like mint. I don't know what it is. If you know what it is, please leave me a comment and tell me about it.